Hello, teacher Francie and people who might watch this video. In this video, we're going to talk about our investigation project, which is the analysis of the effects of insomnia on the student population of Corbila. We are a two-people group. We are Juan David Cáceres Camacho and me, Andres Felipe Méndez Hurtado. So what we first did was making a problem tree. So here in the middle, we have the main problem, which is insomnia on the student population of Coahuila. We have the causes and direct causes, main effects, and indirect effects. So let's talk about the causes first. So one of the causes might be mental health issues. One of them could be academic anxiety. So let's say you are anxious because you have to take a test tomorrow. So you're gonna be really worried about it and you're not gonna sleep well. The second one is the disorganization in daily habits, which can be due to the lack of a stable sleep routine. So let's say you go to sleep whenever you feel sleepy, and you feel sleepy at 2 a.m., but you have to wake up at 6 a.m. You're not sleeping well because you're only sleeping 4 hours. So that's another cause. And the last one is the use of electronic devices. Uh, and the use of electronic devices can be given due to difficulties in social relationships. So we now live in a really connected world. We have access to lots of people just by this little thing here. So now we connect via our phone. So we really need it to be with people, right? So let's say you stay awake until 1 a.m. and you're texting your friend and you're not going to sleep well because, well, you have to wake up really early. So another cost right there. Okay, so now let's talk about effects. So the first one would be the lack of concentration, which would lead to a decreased academic performance. So if you didn't sleep well because you stayed awake using your phone, so you're not gonna be paying attention to your class. And let's say you have a test and you didn't pay attention to your class and now you don't remember what the topic was. So one effect of it can be that one. The second one would be the increased risk of accidents, which would lead to an increased risk of physical injury. So let's say you decided to drive and you're so sleepy and your head goes to the side because you fell asleep and you crash into a pole. You crashed and you hurt yourself. So an accident, the increased risk of accident, and an injury because you crashed really bad. Okay, another effect is the difficulty in making appropriate decisions, which can lead to increase in risky behaviors. So, as you're not cautious because you didn't sleep well, you might not do things you like. So, let's say a friend says, "Hey, do you wanna drink alcohol until we get drunk?" You're gonna say, "Oh yeah, that'll be so great." And you would be entering a risky behavior because you start drinking and you might have an accident because of it. Okay, then we made the problem statement and we're going to be discussing 6 points. So the first one will be the general problem, then we'll talk about direct causes, then indirect causes, then main effects, then general conclusion, and finally the research question. Okay, so first, the general problem. So the general problem is insomnia. So insomnia is defined as a difficulty of falling asleep or not getting a proper sleep. So this issue has been growing a lot among young people, especially students, that struggle to sleep well and that can affect their concentration, their mood, and their health. And the problem has increased due to a change in our lifestyle, well, one of them being the technology use. Okay, then we talk about the direct causes. So one of the main causes, I mean, we only talked about one, is the use of electronic devices before sleeping. So this thing you see here, it has blue light, which reduces the melatonin, which is really needed for you to go sleep. So this disrupts natural sleep cycles, and that will lead to few hours of rest and that would lead to a lower academic performance. Now the indirect causes. So we have stress, anxiety, and information overload, which can contribute to insomnia. So academic pressure and late night screen use make it harder to students for going to sleep. Okay, so now you're gonna have my mate who's gonna talk about the next things.
Facts in this investigation. Um, the main effects of insomnia. Okay, insomnia leads to tyrants, poor concentration, and lower academic results. Students who don't sleep enough feel sleepy during class and find it hard to focus on their studies. It also causes irritability, anxiety, and sometimes even depressing symptoms. Many students to try awake by drinking coffee or energy drink, but that only makes the problem worse. In the long term, lack of sleep increases the risk of serious health problems and affect emotional balance. In conclusion, young insomnia is growing problem closely related to more technology and unhealthy daily habits. Promoting better sleep during routine is essential for improving students' well-being and academic performance. If students learn to manage their time, reduce nighttime screen use, and control stress, they can rest better and perform more effectively at the university. Based, based, based on this, our search question is: how does insomnia affect the student population at CORHUILA? This question guides our study and helps us focus on finding practical solutions for our students' community. Now, let's talk about or let's move on the justification of our search. Insomnia among young people is becoming more frequent and it seriously affects health mood and academic results. Through research, we aim to understand this main consequence and create awareness about the importance of healthy sleep habits. Our purpose is this to promote better rest and reduce stress, helping curricular students, families, and the university improve general well-being. Now, objectives and methodology. Finally, let's look at our objectives and methodology. The general objective of this study is to analyze the effect of insomnia on curricular students and propose strategies to improve their sleep quality. These specific objectives are first to identify the main cause of insomnia. Second, to describe the main consequence associated with it and try to propose healthy strategies and habits that can help students sleep better. Regarding our methodology, we will collect information through surveys and interviews with students to better understand how insomnia affects their daily life. With this information, we aim to deploy recommendations that promote better sleep and healthy academic environment.
All right, so I'm also going to be talking about the frame of reference because my colleague didn't want to do the video or whatever. So I'm just gonna do it. All right. So international references. We had three of them. I'm just gonna talk about the first one, which is the López, by López, Castán, Bañeres y demás. Es El sueño en niños y adolescentes, artículo monográfico. Alright, so the article discusses insomnia in children and adolescents, and it highlights it as the most common sleep disorder in this group. It affects cognitive, emotional, and physical development, and is also linked to depression, substance use, and suicide risk. And the main treatment is cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI, which focuses on sleep hygiene and managing anxiety. Melatonin may be used cautiously when behavioral therapies are not effective, and early recognition and treatment are essential for healthy development. And now the national ones. So let's talk about the first one, which is identificación de trastorno del insomnio y calidad del sueño en adolescentes entre los 12 a 18 años en la estación educativa de Bucaramanga. Alright, so the psychology project from the Universidad Cooperativa de Colombia aimed to identify insomnia and sleep quality in adolescents aged 12 or between 12 and 18 from a school in Bucaramanga. Using a quantitative and descriptive approach with 100 students, the ICI and Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index were applied. And the results showed that 75% were at risk of insomnia and 54% had poor sleep quality, highlighting the need for preventive strategies and early intervention to improve academic performance and overall well-being. Now, the other one we're going to be talking about is calidad del sueño y su asociación con el rendimiento académico de los programas de pregrado de la institución universitaria Colegios de Colombia Unicoc, sede de Bogotá. Alright, so this is a study from the Unicoc University in Bogotá aimed to determine the relationship between sleep quality and academic performance among undergraduate students. Using a descriptive cross-sectional design with 266 participants, data were collected through the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, PSQI, and the Epworth Sleepiness Scale, ASE. And the results showed that poor sleep quality and daytime sleepiness were common and significantly related to lower academic performance, especially among dentistry students. The authors recommend institutional prevention and health promotion strategies to address this issue. And now our theoretical framework, or the ones we actually use for our investigation, we're going to talk about all of them. So, La luz azul, peligros y beneficios, el farmacéutico, profesión y cultura. So the article analyzes the effects of blue light exposure on human health and well-being defined by the CIE as wavelengths between 300 and 510 nanometers. Blue light, especially between 415 and 455 nanometers, can damage the eyes and skin, causing retinal toxicity and digital photoaging. It also disrupts circadian rhythms by suppressing melatonin, reducing sleep quality, and increasing risk of cardiovascular and mental health issues. Preventive measures include limiting screen exposure before bedtime and using blue light filters or protective frames. Despite its risks, blue light has therapeutic uses in phototherapy treatments. Now, the second one is a bibliometric analysis of insomnia in adolescents. So the article presents a bibliometric study on research students about adolescent insomnia from 2002 to 2022. It analyzed 2,468 publications from 87 countries, with the US and China as main contributors. Interest in the topic has grown significantly since 2017. The most influential journals were Sleep and Sleep Medicine, and key authors included Mary A. Carskadon and Shenshen Liu. Main research themes focus on mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, stress, and COVID-19 effects. And now the final one is El Insomnio del Adolescente. And this study concludes that adolescent insomnia is a major public and scientific concern, closely linked to mental health and academic performance, highlighting the need for a greater interdisciplinary collaboration. This article discusses sleep disorders in adolescents, focusing on insomnia such as a common and important issue. It explains that biological and behavioral factors such as delayed sleep phase and later melatonin secretion make it harder for teens to fall asleep early and wake up in the morning. Chronic sleep deprivation leads to daytime sleepiness, poor academic performance, fatigue, and higher risk of depression and insulin resistance. Diagnosis can use the BER scale and sleep diary. While treatment should focus on behavioral strategies and sleep hygiene, melatonin from 1 to 5 milligrams may be used an hour before bedtime to help regulate sleep. And that will be it.
Alright, so now let's talk about the methodology, or well, the approach. So we read Fernandez Sampiri and Mendoza's book in order to get our approach, and we're going to use the mixed. And they define it as, well, the use of the quantitative part and the qualitative part. So the quantitative part focuses on numerical data and statistical analysis in order to identify patterns and test hypotheses. And the qualitative part explores experiences and perceptions through interviews or observations. And well, we're going to be using the mixed approach because we're going to measure how many students suffer from insomnia, and also we're going to analyze how it affects their daily lives.
Now let's talk about the level of research. So, according to areas, explanatory research focuses on discovering the causes of a phenomenon by analyzing cause-effect relationships. And it seeks to test hypotheses and gain a deeper understanding of the studied variables. We're going to be using the explanatory level because it aims to explain how insomnia affects our real students who participate in the experiment. Um, Now let's talk about the research design. So again, according to areas, a experimental design applies a specific condition or treatments to a group in order to observe their effects on outcomes. And well, its main goal is to test cause-effect relationships by controlling variables to ensure results come from the experiment itself. So we're gonna be using this because we're gonna have our participants complete several sleep-related surveys over a set of period of days, and that way we can identify the causes and effects of insomnia on their daily academic activities. Well, the population sample we're going to be using. So the population of Coahuila, well, it counts with around 2,000 active students, and we're going to be using a sample of 323 participants. Now the instruments we're going to be using, they are four. So we're going to have the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, which is a questionnaire of 24 items, and we'll use it to assess dimensions such as sleep, subjective quality, latency, duration, efficiency, disturbances, medication use, and daytime dysfunction. Also, we're going to be using the Insomnia Severity Index, which is a subjective 5-item scale that evaluates insomnia severity. Um, Also, we're gonna use the Athens Insomnia Scale, which is a 8-item scale based on WHO criteria to assess insomnia severity. And also we're using the Epworth Sleepiness Scale, which is another 8-item questionnaire that measures daytime sleepiness in common situations, such as reading, watching TV, or traveling. Well, in this case, we'll be studying, right? Now, the methodology, well, the ethical considerations. The study will follow the declarations of Helsinki and the resolution 8430 of 1993 in Colombia. The participation is voluntary and based on informed consent, ensuring anonymity and confidentiality. The data we'll be using is only going to be used for academic purposes. No significant risks are expected on the students that are actually going to be on the experiment. But if we see that they are like really affected by insomnia, we will get them the help from the CORHUILA medical part. And now the schedule of activities we're gonna be doing. So on the first month, we're gonna be defining the study type. We're gonna get the data we're gonna use, the instruments we're gonna use, the variables and the population. Then on the second and third month, you're gonna be reviewing, pilot testing, and adjusting the instruments or tools we're gonna be using for the experiment. Then in the 3rd and 4th month, we're gonna be collecting the actual data. We're gonna be applying the surveys to the students. And the 4th and the 5th month, we're gonna be analyzing the data we got from that. Then on the 5th month, we're gonna develop the strategy. We're gonna tell the students how to improve their sleep. And on the fifth and sixth month, we're gonna be writing the final report, conclusions, and the document submission. And on the sixth month, we will be presenting our findings to the academic community or research committee. And now our investigation budget. We are two students, or we are not gonna be using that much money. So the first item would be like office supplies, like paper, pens, folders, and other stuff that we might need. So that would be around 80,000 pesos. Transportation, which is not really needed, but we might have some occasional trips for meetings or material delivery. That will be around 150,000 pesos. The digital tools we're going to use, such as internet access, cloud storage, and software use, are around 60,000 pesos. We're going to give incentives to the participants, such as snacks or maybe some gifts. That will be around 100,000 pesos. Not the printing and binding, so that will be for the final report presentation, around 50,000 pesos. And technical support, so like as occasional consultations or academic guidance, that will be around 100,000 pesos. And now contingencies, so if we have any type of problem, if the money didn't actually get the actual money we needed, so that's around 10% of it. So that'll be 60,000 pesos. So the total estimated cost would be 600,000 pesos for the project. And now, well, our bibliographic references. So as I talked before, it is actually gonna be my colleague, but he didn't do anything. And so I already talked about these three. So El insomnio del adolescente, um, a barometric analysis of insomnia in adolescents, and La Luz Azul, Peligros y Beneficios. So the other ones we used were el proyecto de investigación, Introducción a la metodología científica by areas. So we used it to get our methodology right. And the other one was Metodología de la investigación, la ruta es cuantitativa, cualitativa y mixta by Hernandez Sampieri and Mendoza. And well, we used it to get the other part of our methodology. So like the route we were gonna take and stuff. I really hope you liked my work. It's mostly mine, actually. And I really hope I get a good grade. I don't know about my colleague, but it's fine. Thank you, teacher, and thank you, people who might watch this video.